Okay. So, last class of the year. Try and look at the 30 after your KATA. So, we'll do something similar that we did yesterday. So just starting shoulder width. Just start with a little bit of a bounce. The whole body. It's a little bit cold. Make it a little bit more active if you like. Right out to the ground. Just play with one side, tensioning or releasing one side. A bit like a jog on the spot. Releasing the arms. And back into the center of both feet. Yeah, we'll just play with a little bit of tension. We'll start with the hands this time. So just nice, tightly pulse in and out of fully sealed grip. Just releasing it out. Actually, you can't really tilt it with the joke, but play with hold a couple of seconds and release in a couple of seconds. Holding tight. Release it. Try not to allow that tension go into the shoulders, the elbows, forearms, just kind of localizing the hands. Grip. Try and feel the jaw as well in the hands as you release. Feel the weight of the jaw. Squeeze into it. Feel your grip in the whole of the jaw and feel both ends of it. Feel the center of the jaw. And just take it to the whole arm, so pulling the shoulders up tight towards the ears, straightening the elbows, bring the forearm into tension, bicep, tricep, everything. Just release it as well. Just play with a little bit of a long hold, maybe 4 or 5 seconds. Take a nice deep in breath as you do it. Release it out. Nice and tension, whole arm. More. Take the jaw to the back of the body, same thing. Grip, tighten up the shoulders. Squeeze, feel yourself go into the shoulder blade as well. Just tension up, release it, and release out the shoulder. Again, just a few seconds each time. Pulsing, holding. You can increase the tension then also by just pulling the jaw back a little bit if you like. And then we'll take the jaw back to the front, do it up to the top. So tensioning up, releasing, but keep that softness. Keep the jaw up basically. So the jaw doesn't really change position. Just change in the tension in the arm and shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, forearm, bicep, tricep, everything. And releasing it. And then when you release it, really feel the elbow release. So allow the feet to settle down a little bit with this one. And feel the weight. The jaw, play with releasing the elbow, the wrist, shoulder, and when you tension in to the opposite. Play here also with, if you like to increase the tension, you can think about pulling the jaw apart or squeezing it together. You can play with both. They'll activate tension in the arm a little bit differently, but they will do a very similar thing. Squeeze it together with the hands. Squeeze it apart. Pull it apart. So, and then just the same out to the front. Try and feel that you're engaging the core now with the tensioning also. Keep that slight bounce going, very subtle bounce now. Again, think about pulling apart or pushing together, or even splitting the jaw. So you can think about kind of bending it. Put the tension in, then release again, just release the arms a little bit. Really release out the wrists as well. Make sure the wrists are mobilized. Release. Good. And then we'll just play with a little bit tensioning, but in a good way. So without the kind of rigidity in the tension. Think about squeezing in and feel that you've still got the elasticity in the joint system. So a special focus on the wrist and the elbow. So find that full kind of fully connected, fully sealed grip. You can keep the bounce going if you like. I'm just going to settle it down. Just do a few here with playing with the grip, pulling apart, pressing together, whilst keeping the shoulder shrugged down, the elbow heavy pointing down, and the wrist free to mobilize as well. So the wrist will brace a little bit because that's what it wants to do when you've got a strong grip, which is useful, especially when you're applying force. So you will notice a kind of probably a decrease in mobility in the wrist, which is natural. Just play with kind of pulsing in and out of the long grip, long, strong grip. Again, play with pulling, pressing in, squeezing, tensioning one side. The other one you can play with is a slight kind of wringing of the hands. So one kind of wringing that way, one wringing that way. Make it a bit obvious, but in this case, it's going to be a bit more subtle. So feeling like you're wringing out the weapon. So you play with it. Connected tension grip arm, but it should also feel mobile. Right. Good. And then we'll just test it a little bit. So just play with this kind of rolling motion. Keep that grip about shoulder width. And keep that strong grip as well. So roll through the grip a little bit and really allow now the hip rolls over the jaw. So rather than it being just an arm movement, let the hip really guide the jaw. So the arms are really doing as little as possible. They're just staying free and basically listening to the hip. So it's just a hip connection exercise. And the hip connecting through the back, through the shoulders, through the elbows, through the wrists, through the hands, and into the jaw. And as you're doing it, just notice two things. Notice your contact to the ground with the feet. And notice the contact with the hands to the jaw. So see if you can feel, really try and feel, if you actually sense the jaw, or you can actually feel the jaw where it is. Feel the center of it, feel the both ends of it. And one of the easy ways to do it is just slightly close the eyes or fully close the eyes and actually try and notice in your feeling the sensations, the ends of the jaw. So I can look at them and see them, which is a different thing than actually feeling where the jaw is in space. Good, great, very nice. Okay. And then just play with rolling back, so you're just taking the hips in the other way, for the direction, opening them out, rolling back. What I like to think about a little bit is you can think about someone grabbing both ends of the jaw, two people basically on either end of the jaw, kind of holding it, so that you've got a little bit of tension through. You can also imagine doing it in water or doing it in quicksand, all these kind of things. They're all useful, but think about a little bit where there will be a little bit of pressure, because obviously I can get away with doing this in the air. The air is not as thick, viscous, so think about either doing it against someone where you've got actual weight, like into the ground with your body. Tension in the body. Think about again doing it in water. Do it for a little bit of a thicker substance there. Yeah. You go fast with it, but try and maintain that sense that you're way through the ends of the jaw. Again, just notice those two things again. Go to the quality of the ground and the feet, and the extent that I can feel the jaw in the hands through the contact with the hand. And we'll go to the exercise we did yesterday, which is kind of snapping the center. So that same grip, fix the feet into the ground. Notice again the contact with the ground, and then you're just going to pull the hip, snap it into the grip. Pull the grip and snap into the grip. And we'll do like we did yesterday, where when you release the hips, either direction, release also the hands. So allow the hands to release, shoulders relax, and then as you snap the hip, snap the contact with the hands. And your aim is to basically get both hands working together equally. So again, notice those two things as you're doing it. You get the coordination into the exercise, the quality of the ground in the feet, and the quality of the jo through the hands, the feeling of the weapon. And what you're looking for again is a kind of centers engaged, mobilizing the movement and initiating the movement, and that the hands receive it equally, and the jo will receive it equally as well. And your feedback is in the jo. What happens with the jo is what's happening in your core, in your center. So again, you can do this eyes closed, like you can actually watch the jo and see how it actually looks. Just notice, the main thing is notice whether one side's kind of sticking out or vibrating more than the other. So what you want is the feeling, as if really you want to snap the jo in half. So it's the feeling like you want to break the jo. So the classic technique that we use this in is Ikkyo. If you think about Ikkyo, where I want both hands to be equal, and I want the center to be affecting both hands. And all the weapon work again. If you think about focusing with the steep, focusing with the strike, that same quality where the hands are basically coming together, working from the center. That's that. Just a few more. And then what I want you to just mix in these two exercises. So the back row, the front row, and the snapping of the center. So play with basically mobilizing the body. You can move the feet a little bit to the side. And then every so often, just feel that you can snap into it. And you can do that snap in any part of the movement. So that snap should be possible at any part of it. So, but try and get again the sense that the hands are equal as you find it. Just play with that a little bit. Play with the rolling of the hip, and then play with the fixing of the center, basically. Or the initiating of the center. That's it, great. Yeah, it's very nice. So. And again, just as you get into the connection with it, you get into the exercise, just notice again the quality of the ground with the feet, through the feet, and the connection, the contact you have with the jo. Whether you can actually feel the jo, feel where it is in space. Good. That's it. Nice. Great. And the last one we'll do is just give the hands a little bit of freedom on the weapon. So allow them to kind of slide, to turn, and basically to just take different grips with the movement. So you can do the same movement with the hands that way. You can do them with the hands that way. You can do them really anyway. You can do them with the hands on that side of the weapon. You can do them with the hands totally separated. So just play with different positions. No fixed rule. Obviously, if you think about the moves we're going to make in the 31, those will be kind of useful patterns to try. But really, it's just about again mobilizing and then the ability to just fix into the hands with the center. Fix into the hands with the center. And those two things, the quality with the ground, quality of my contact with the feet and the ground, and the extent that I can feel the jo. Those are my basic connection points with the weapon. They will guide me in my ability to affect the weapon through the center, from the center. So. And as you're exploring a little bit of different positions and different grips, go to that kind of basic pattern again. And the main thing to notice here is, especially when you go to more complex movements with the feet, try and feel that you're grounding through both legs as you do it. So it doesn't even necessarily mean that the feet have to be totally in the ground. but it does mean that I need to have a really good sense of contact and grounding into the feet. So notice whether one foot becomes the dominant foot in this case. Notice that you're actually better, hopefully, be a bit more grounded and stable through the core of the body. It's not impossible to obviously do this on one leg, but it's a little bit more difficult. Yeah, nice, correct. Good. That's it. And when we get into 31, there's obviously the part where we go down onto the knees, or we go down into the squat position. So just play a little bit here, just with opening up the legs a little bit more. So follow that same exercise, but when you do it, you can think about two things: mobilizing through a low position, going to these positions, or fixing in a low position also. So you can think about the snap happening low, or you can think about just mobilizing the legs through these kind of motions. So you're looking at kind of low squats, low lunges. Just feel you can kind of work the legs a little bit more. Let's do it slowly to start, but just notice. Keep all those things active. And the quality of contact with the ground, with the feet. The extension through the legs. Just coming down to the ground a little bit. Just checking with the knees, the feet, the ankles. So. One image that's useful, I'm doing this anyway because I need to be a bit alert. So apart from anything else, runners kind of coming through. But notice if you imagine the space, there's the people in the space. So if everything's fine and everything's nice and there's no other people in the room, I can kind of do these kind of things, kind of come down. But if you imagine there's actually someone in the room or someone in the what I'm going to do is I do this to keep my also focus out. So basically trying to find basically an open field of vision where I see more than I'm looking at the feet on the ground. Just keep a kind of wider, more alert. So good. Yeah, great. That's it. Good, great. And then the last exercise with this, the same exercise, and you can also continue with the leg things. You can just kind of come up a little bit. Focus on objects in the space. I've got these really great big lamp posts here. So you don't need to make contact with anything, but use objects as a focal point. So again, playing with these kind of movements or this kind of movement, and just play with a little bit of focusing into this way, and use different objects in your room. I've got two of these. I've got these. I've got the steps here down. So just focus on again, just mobilizing and focusing into the center. You're going to probably start to go into striking and techniques because it's what we're training all the time. But just explore it on the level of just making contact with it. And again, you don't need to actually make contact. If you've got soft things that you can make contact with, that's also useful. But it's just the idea of connecting now all the work into another thing. So the transmission of feeling from the Joe, from the body, from the Joe into the object. And most of that stuff's weight. So aligning the structure to the contact point. Just explore a little bit. Great. Super, great. Okay, good. And we'll just work with the 6 count, kata. So obviously we'll bridge that into the 31, but we'll just work on it now. So use that same feeling and quality. So focus on an object, if you got it. Fix on that object, so just do all the kata towards it. So in this case, it goes here 1, 2, 3 for the strike, pulling the jaw all the way back, 4, striking low 𝘱𝘠𝘦𝘳, and then coming back into the line. It's just a basic 6 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Keep going with that. Right. See where we are. Okay, great. Okay, Jenny, I'll do a few more. Just watch as you do. You're going to start this one from 𝘧𝗪𝗞𝗜𝗠𝗠, left side. So it goes the basic thrust in, and then you're pulling up to the top of the head, similar to we did yesterday, striking on the right foot. And then here you're going to pull the jaw all the way back. So you're going to pull it back to the left hip. And then the strike here is low, would be for the knee, striking low here, and then coming back into command this way. Do nice and slow. 1, 2 up to the top. 3, striking, pulling the jaw back, striking the knee, and then coming back into command. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try. If you get lost, just let me know. Yeah, perfect. That's it. Good. Okay, great, Jenny, really good. Just watch the last movement here. So you found
what do my hands do to go back? Yeah, what do my hands do?
Now my top hand, the right hand, is going to roll down the weapon. Come here, and it's going to find the back end of the gun this way.
Ah, so yes, got it. Yeah, got it.
And then you're back to the beginning. You're back in your basic.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, perfect. Great. Good. Okay, great. So we'll focus on the kind of 3 level, the basic blending. This is a 𝘰𝘰𝘪𝘏𝘬 work. So the 3 levels are basically this. The first focus is on your own body. So the first thing, we'll look at balance as a really key one. Balance is a really kind of key principle for us. So just look at the balance in just within your own body. So forget the focus out, forget this. You can also do this with your eyes closed, that's very useful. But just focus on your own internal sense of balance. So focus on basically finding the middle of the posture each time. Coming in, finding the middle of the posture. Here, finding the middle of the posture. Finding the middle of the posture here. Finding the middle of the posture. Finding the middle of the posture. Okay. And as you do it, notice if you get pulled to one side or pulled to the front, pulled to the back. A little bit feel like you're up, a little bit feel like you're pressing down, and just adjust it and use the 𝘰𝘠𝗀 practice, the static practice, the pauses in between, just to realign yourself, refine your balance. And then it should feel that I can just go to the next movement. You find yourself stuck up or out or forwards, just seeing can settle into the ground. Seeing can settle into the ground. Just looking really at your own sense of balance in relationship to the ground. And I'm not really a fan of it, but you could do this without the 𝗔. So you could do it kind of without the 𝗔, the same pattern. I prefer having the weapon, but you could do it in the sense of a solo kata form, just with the body. So. Yeah. So just notice there's one thing, it's always come up, and I'm also bad for it as well. Notice when I go to like introspection, in a sense, I start to kind of close down the head, and I start to kind of check internally, and I start to maybe watch the feet and watch the hands. And try and not do that. So it's really easy to do. Try and not do it. So don't actually use the object now it's focused, but don't put anything into it in a sense. Just kind of use it, and I'm just kind of blanking it with it. So I'm just kind of settling the eyes. But the feeling, so I tend to have this thing of like gazing out onto a mountain, like that kind of look that you have where you just open, trying to see everything basically, and nothing's kind of taking your focal point, or nothing's taking your focus. But you just allow the eyes to kind of settle. And the best idea is think about the horizon line basically. Just keep that as you look inside, for want of a better phrase. But notice the tendency to, again, look down, check the hands, check the feet. And you know where the feet are, so you don't actually need to look at them, hopefully. Maybe. Basically, imagine you've not got a head. Like, imagine yeah, that's basically it. Imagine you've not got a head. And imagine it's just a thing on top of your body, and you need to balance it as like a stone on the top of the body. So imagine it's not really a head. It's not got your brain, it's not got your eyes, it's not got your nose, your mouth, nothing. It's just a thing on the top of the head. So imagine it's just like a rock on top of the head. Kind of a squidgy, fleshy rock. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that helps. Okay, good. Good. Correct. Good. So go to the second kind of level with this, which is the connection to the weapon. So shift your focus, or see if you can basically maintain that focus on the body, the balance, and focus on the weapon now. So again, it's a question of balance and focus. So when you do it, notice whether one hand is kind of, and I'm kind of, oh, hello. Sorry, a bit of wind. Notice whether one hand's kind of strangling the weapon, pushing the weapon, and try and find a balance with the jaw where I feel the whole of the weapon. And the feedback for us is basically on the snap of the weapon. So the end of the weapon is going to find that kind of fix. So it's solid and fixed, but it's also flexible at the end. Just kind of readjust the camera. There's a bit of wind problems. So focus now on the ability to snap your focus into the weapon itself. And again, the first thing to come, the first priority is whether I'm balanced in myself, and then I can hopefully transmit that balanced quality to the weapon, and that should transmit a kind of nice, solid snap into the weapon. It's the kind of percussive, striking work that we do with the weapon. That's great. Very nice. Nice. Good. Okay, and it's going to sound a little bit odd, but imagine that Joe has a free will. So imagine that Joe has an ability to move, and it has a feeling of where it wants to go. Now, if I strangle the weapon, especially in the transitional movements, and I kind of make it go to all these odd places, it doesn't really want to go there. So the Joe just wants to go from point A to point B in the most efficient way. That's like anyone wants to do. So when I do it with the Joe, imagine that I don't want to strangle it, and I don't want to force it into the position. I just want to let it find that position, and then the strike, let it find that position. Let it find that position. Circling back with it. So imagine the Joe has kind of consciousness. It wants to go somewhere, and its aim is basically to get from point A to point B in the most efficient way. And basically, I either help it to do that, or I don't help it to do that. So I either align to that as an idea, or I don't, basically, or I struggle with it. Yeah, that's it. And imagine, rather than you controlling the Joe's controlling you. So your movement needs to align to the path of the Joe, where it wants to go. the 𝘗 is taking you for a walk, basically. That's it. And you don't have a head, so that's useful. Good. Great. So then try and find a balance between those two. So again, coming back to the balance in the body, finding the middle of the kamayo, middle of the positions, and focus on where the 𝘗 basically wants to go in that movement. In the case of the kind of downward dog, the 𝘗 wants to, if it comes from that, it wants to kind of fall into place. And I need to basically be there to catch it in that position. And then the 𝘗 wants to go that way, I need to be there to catch it. I need to be there to catch it, I need to be there to catch it. So you're trying to align, again, right behind the weapon. So it's a case of taking a little bit of initiative back from the weapon. Try and meet it, try and get to a place where it doesn't feel like it's you with the 𝘗. Just you and 𝘗, you 𝘗 together. One thing. Good. And then the last level of connection work or 𝘰𝘰𝘬𝘪𝘏𝘰 work is the extension out from the body. So out from the body and out from the 𝘗. So you're looking at two things, which is basically in the case of martial arts, like the target and also the ground and everything above you as well. So your position in space and your relationship to it. So the easiest way to think about this is find a target, find a really clear target. Think about the ground basically extending through to it. So that is one thing. And basically my connection to the ground and my connection to the object is the same thing. So this kind of idea is that down and out really come together. So the focus goes to the object, focus on it through the ground. Yeah. And notice how easy it is, even in this very short set, to become distracted, to lose my focus, to lose the ground, lose my balance. Try and just constantly try and bring yourself back into concentration, basically. Just really the work of the kata work is why they're so beneficial as practices. The longer the kata, the better, usually. Oh, yeah. Yeah, watch your light fittings as well. Definitely watch the light fittings. Include those in your awareness, basically. Yeah, good. Great. Okay, perfect. So those kind of three levels. So basically bring yourself back to it. And they're basically, not in the sense that they're a hierarchy, but the third one is really dependent on the first one. And the second one is really dependent on the first one. So if I don't have number one, which is basically awareness of my own body, 2 and 3 are basically just too loose to basically really work with. So I need to constantly draw back to that one and then go to the 𝘗 and then go to the ground and be everything I'm focusing on there. So as we go through the kata, I'll keep bringing you back to it anyway, but just constantly kind of bring yourself back to that idea. So we'll go to the 31, and basically where we left it yesterday was we got to number 8, right? So we'll see if we can go straight into that. Just take it nice and slow. So use the pauses. But he goes here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rotate into the back. 7. 8. So let's go through that a few times.
Sorry, old brain. Yeah, please repeat.
Yeah, well, I'll keep repeating it. Just so it goes 1. Take a few seconds. 2. Take a few seconds. 3. 4. 5. 6. Again, if you have any questions or anything stuck on a movement, just let me know. It's okay, just keep going. Great. Okay, I'll just draw you to some little bit of technical issues, but again, they're kind of feeling points. So notice the tendency, especially with kata work, the more I get into it, if I am basically unbalanced in the beginning, and by unbalanced, it's usually with the jaw that I'm forward and front of the body. And as I go into the rest of the kata, stay forward, and then it just gets worse. But I get pulled, I get pulled, I get pulled, I get pulled, I get pulled. So I'm all the time being basically pulled forward at the body. That is what the Joe's doing. So that's the kind of the purpose of weapon training, is basically to try and find the balance in my ability to ground that quality, ground the weight and the pressure of the Joe out. So just allow yourself, it starts really in the beginning in these positions. So really allow yourself to settle into the back. And my feeling of balance, what I think is balance, might not actually be balance. So really check that. Really check that the basic quality of balance is where I can feel that if I want to move, I can just move. And if I'm stuck forward, the ability to move now is compromised. So I need to basically reset and then move to do it. So the feedback in the body on balance is basically whether I can go from stillness and take it directly into motion. Directly into motion. Okay, so just give yourself space in the form to really challenge and question whether I'm actually balanced or not. And the big one is whether I'm front loaded with the weapon. Basically, need to meet it with the back of the body and the front. So power is good. The ability to apply force is good, but it comes from being balanced. Always. Very nice. Okay, great. Oh. Great. Okie dokie. Good. It's fine. Great. Okay, we're going to go a little bit further. So one of the complicated movements in the set, we're going to start it from the left foot. So it's where you just finished. So you want left side hand meet the right hand in front here. Now this movement is a barai, so it's a sweeping movement to the back. So what we do is rotate up to the top, bring the jaw just level with the side of the head, and then you're going to sweep the jaw with the back with the foot. Now my front leg. So this sweeps back and then bring it to the side of the body. in this case, you just come in and out. So start with the left side. You change direction with the body. Bring the jaw to the side of the head, and then let it sweep back with the leg, and then just come back to it. So the basic movement you're practicing now is if the left leg's forward. It's just basically a tenkan from the left foot. So the left foot becomes a kind of pivot point for it. I establish the new direction, and then I roll the body back this way. So the basic movement is a rotation, pivoting on the left foot. And then I basically just want to bring the jaw in with that movement. So pivot. And the jaw in this case is just finishing just past the shoulder this way. I do it from this angle. Like this angle. The jaw will just come to face the screen. That way. Jaw's in that plane, just the side of the body. Give it a try. A tricky movement if you've not got the space, but yeah, good. That's great.
Sorry, I need a bit more help.
Yeah, sure,
So does my body change 180 degrees?
Yeah, in this case.
Through the footwork?
Yeah. So when you do, I'll do from this direction. So I've got the left foot forward. What I do is I pivot the whole body that way. So I face the new direction, and then I keep this direction with the body. And then I just roll through the feet by taking this foot back, and I end up in that position.
So it goes.
Rotate, find the new position, find the new direction, and then my next step basically goes to that direction.
Yeah.
And then the jaw is going to do the same thing. It's in that position. I bring it with me in the rotation here, and then I'm going to sweep it in an arc across. So it's like a kind of raking strike across. Yeah. It finishes in that position, and that's to allow the next movement to just come up with it. So.
Okay.
Does that help?
I think so. I'm struggling to remember it. Let me try.
It's also a really tricky movement. It's one of the tricky parts of the kata. So just checking. Okay. Okay, we'll break this down a little bit. So it's always important to go to function, because otherwise I'm just kind of waving a stick around, right? So I've just become like, I want to get the stick from point A to point B, and I just kind of pull it around. So think of the point of the strike is there's two reasons for this. One, it's to create space, to kind of open up space. So the image in this case is like you're surrounded at the back of the body, and I need to basically clear that space. So there's people here, and I basically need to use the jaw to sweep and open up that space. So you're using the jaw to rake the space, to basically push the people back out of it. The other way you can think about it is as a strike itself. So it would be that someone's behind me, and I'm basically rotating into a strike this way. So the kind of biting point for the strike is as you find this point this way. So just play with this idea. Don't worry about the rotation stuff, but just play with letting the jaw come up to the side of the body here, and just play with the idea that you can bite into the strike. So it's basically all the strikes we do are basically variations on Shomen and Yokumin work. This is really a variation of Yokumin work. So that the feeling that you've got with the Yokumin here, it's going this way and across the body this way. So just play with basically a left side Yokumin, letting the right foot basically draw back. So I come up and I let the right foot draw back, and I let the right foot draw back, and I let the right foot draw back, and then I just allow the hip to just start to open the movement out a little bit. So the hip is what's opening the jaw up, and the arm work. So the back hip is opening the arm up, opening the arm up, opening the arm up. Just play with that. So forget the rotation work, because that's the kind of tricky bit. But just get that feeling of kind of biting into basically a variation on a Yokumin. and it's going from the left side of the body over to the right, left side to right in this case. Yeah. That's it. Again, the challenge is how do I allow the hips to move the jaw? That's basically the problem. That's always the problem with weapon, or that's the problem with everything. How do I allow the center of the body and the hips, especially in our case, to actually open the movement out? So it doesn't start with the arms. It doesn't start with the jaw. It starts from basically the core of the body, initiating it and opening it out. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Yeah, good. That's it. Okay, great. One image I like to use with this, imagine you got like a big mop. So on the end of the jaw is like a big mop and it's soaking wet, right? And I want to basically, there's someone behind me and I want to spray them with the water from the mop. So I want to transmit my movement here out to the right to the tip of the mop. And it's all wet and dangly. And I want to basically whip the mop up, but also across the face. And I want to splash them with water from it. So just start to open the room now, but there's someone behind me. And I basically roll it up and I whip it across the face. And my intention is at the point of this point, I'm basically transmitting my weight into it so that it's going to flip the end of the mop out and it's going to spray the person behind me with water. So it's in essence, it's like a raking movement of the body. And this comes from spear work, so it's got a feeling. We can use it percussively, obviously, this movement, but it's got a feeling like I'm slashing with a spear blade across. Mop handles work just, or mop heads work just as well. Actually, work better. So you're kind of raking the tip of the jaw across. A big soaking wet mop head. Or you can think of like a big paintbrush, like you've got a big Chinese paintbrush, and you're slashing across a big black ink mark. Blam. That's it. There we go. Nice. There we go. Good. Okay, we'll just focus on the next few movements from this. So we've got the left leg forward. You're going to swing back. You end up in this case with the left leg forward again, right? So the right leg's back. What you're going to do now from this position is you're going to just bring the feet together, bring the jaw above the top of the head, and then you're going to go from the left hip. You're going to strike with the 𝘥𝘢𝘦𝘴, and then we'll just finish there. So we'll just do this as a short set. So you're in the left leg strike position, 𝘥𝘢𝘦. Open up your back, swing the jaw through. You end up with the right leg back. Bring that right leg now towards the left. Together, come to the top of it. And then open out for a second. Strike the 𝘥𝘢𝘦 on the left leg. Just reset. So it's here 1, 2, 3. Balance is the key with this. So start. Bringing the weight together. Hands again for the strike. Okay, give it a try. So in the cats, this is 9, 10, 11. Very nice. Okay, good. So actually go some interesting parts of this. If you go to the idea of connection and focus out with your target or your object of kind of focus, when you do this, notice as you come into this, it's very easy to lose that as a kind of focus. I go here, I get drawn out. I go here, I get drawn out. I think I find it again. But all the time between, I've kind of lost it. So my object here is right behind. But here I'm not focusing on it. So I need to be aware of it. It's that, okay? And then I need to establish the contact fully with the head, everything, and keep it from here. Now, as I go into this position, what I don't do is keep it with the vision because it's going to screw the body up as I go into it. So I hold it there. It's still there. It's still there. It's still there. And it's still in my field of view, but I'm not focusing on it down. It's just there, right? And my priority is the balance vector. That always comes first. And then I re-establish that full connection to it with the strike. Later, you're going to just flow through this movement, so that movement becomes really like a split-second move or nothing of a second. And it's a kind of tight moment. But in the kata, it's a challenge to kind of hold that position. But actually, it's not. But I need to know what I'm prioritizing. I'm always going to prioritize my own body, my own structure over my connection with the other object in this case. So especially notice the spine, the length in the spine, my ability to ground. Great. Okay, just 2 more minutes. We're going to spend 1 more minute just on this idea where we started, which was basically to snap the connection out. So we're just going to look at the last 2 moves that we've done, which is in the kata 10 and 11. I just want you to take that kind of bokken grip, so that way. Left leg's going to come forward, and you're just going to play with snapping the connection here from the hip, snapping the connection up, and the feeling's really that I want to snap the core of the body from the ground. Left leg is basically mostly the base for it. And what I'm going to start to do is just allow the right leg now to come together and find that position. I'm going to kind of roll back, roll in and step together. Find that connection, snap into it. Find that connection, snap into the ground. And the feeling in that movement as you bring the legs together, so if you're like sat on a really high stool, like a big high bar stool. And the ability to snap the connection out. This is the application of this movement. So let's try, and then we'll back. Nice. And then the last week, just allow yourself, if you want to take it into the off so you got that, and then snap it out and find the off. So you snap the connection here, and then you snap into the off. Just allows you really full. Okay. When you really allow yourself to really snap out that connection. Okay. Got 2 strikes in this case. One would be for the top of the wrist to take the wrist out, or the hand, and the next one would be for the head. So it's a double strike. Boom, boom. That's it. And then just allow yourself to draw back to those ideas of connection, connecting the whole body, balancing the body, balancing out the jaw, and then balancing out your whole feeling out the ground and to the object target. That's it. Yo! Oh! Run. Oh. Good. Good. And last 20, 30 seconds, just allow yourself to come to the center. Just release out the arms a little bit. Let the body relax. Ground. Release out the tension in the shoulders, elbows, wrists, hands. Let the spine be long. length from the crown of the head up to the ceiling, to the sky. Just let the weight settle into the ground, through the hips, the knees, the feet, the ankles, the bones. Just let the movement become smaller. Settle the body down. Great, we will bow out left. Very good. So, great. Domo, arigato. Gozaimashita.
Domo, arigato, gozaimashita.
Okie doke. There we go. Great, last class of the year. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.